In this video, we're going to talk about SAFe, what it is, why it exists, and how it works. To start with, the word SAFe, in this context, is what's known as a pseudo-blend that stands for Scaled Agile Framework. SAFe is designed to support large teams. You need at least 50 people as a minimum, and the framework can handle many thousands more when fully implemented. The word framework is included in the pseudo-blend for good reason. SAFe provides a construct for agile teams to work together inside of, rather than a detailed methodology. In SAFe, agile teams are still agile, they just have access to additional mechanisms that help align team activities and provide greater opportunity to feedback on things that are impacting them. Teams inside a SAFe organization look like teams you'd see in any agile group. Most teams will do a little bit of planning, then spend 1 to 4 weeks, probably 2 weeks, doing what they planned. Checking in with each other every day at stand-up so that they can adjust their plan based on what they learned the day before. Before delivering incremental and iterative units of value each iteration. The difference in a SAFe group is that there are multiple teams, at least 5 generally, and they're all starting and stopping iterations of the same length on the same days. A series of these iterations are executed back-to-back over a period of 10 to 12 weeks. Teams fully integrate their work at least once each iteration, typically at the end, ensuring a fully integrated solution can be tested and demonstrated on a regular cadence. Sets of 5 to 6 iterations, that's those 10 to 12 weeks, are bookended by activities that the entire group participates in. These activities are essentially scaled-up versions of things that the teams have been doing by themselves each iteration. There's a planning event where everyone from every team plans together in the same room at the same time. It sounds chaotic, and it is, but it's also amazingly powerful when it's done well. The plan that the teams come up with is intended to last for the entire upcoming 10 to 12 week period, which is called an increment, but it's not as detailed as what the teams will be doing every 2 weeks. Instead, it's focused on outcomes and high-level objectives. Throughout the increment, there will be regular opportunities for different parts of the group to get together and have a cross-group conversation that's similar to the stand-up that teams are also doing. At the end of the increment, the group will have collectively delivered a large amount of value. We've talked around it, now let's talk about it. SAFe comes in 4 configurations, each designed for different organization scenarios and scales. To keep things simple, we're going to limit this video to talking about the simplest version of SAFe, which is known as Essential SAFe. And this is the big picture that explains Essential SAFe. It's okay, don't panic. It can seem very overwhelming when you first look at it, but it's honestly not that complicated. First and foremost, remember that it's a framework. The big picture, which we'll get back to in a minute, is largely a collection of pre-existing and easily understood patterns that SAFe just connects together. The framework is designed to help teams support each other, and, while it might seem complicated at first, taken bit by bit, it's actually quite straightforward. So let's do that. On the leftmost side of the picture, there are 2 competencies shown. Agile product delivery is a customer-centric approach to defining, building, and releasing a continuous flow of valuable products and services to customers and users. Team and technical agility, meanwhile, describes the critical skills, principles, and practices that high-performing agile teams and team of agile teams use to create high-quality solutions for their customers. In order to minimize confusion and maximize organizational clarity, SAFe specifies a set of roles that operate similar to the roles specified by Scrum, but at the team of teams level. Where a product owner is responsible for the work done by a team, product management is responsible for the collective work done by all of the teams. A Scrum Master helps agile practices work at the team level, while a release train engineer, shown here as RTE, does the same thing for the team of teams level. The system architect / engineering role is a rolled up version of the agile development team and concerns themselves with technical excellence and aligning the technical activities of the teams. A backlog is an ordered list of stuff. It contains things that the team or team of teams believe are important and valuable, and therefore things that they will do to enhance their existing product or service offerings. The content and order of backlogs is decided by product owners and product management. Design thinking is a modern, highly structured, rapid-paced method of discovering which ideas have merit and which simply don't stand up to the rigorous beating that reality is likely to give them, all without needing to spend very much money. It's a great way to feed the funnel of work that turns into a team backlog before becoming customer-facing real things. Every 2 weeks, typically, teams plan and deliver stuff, using Kanban or Scrum as a framework. The cycles of all the teams are lined up, i.e. all teams start and finish their 2-week time boxes on the same days, but otherwise what you see here is what you'd see in a small organization that only has, say, 1 or 2 teams. This graphic basically shows how the teams synchronize their team-level activities with team of teams events. Specific things called out here of note include PI planning, a big room everyone at once meeting that takes 2 days, and iterations, the name SAFE uses for the 2-week time boxes teams plan for. Scrum uses the word sprint here instead of iteration. There's other interesting stuff here too, but that's probably a conversation for another day. A number of high-level concepts are collected here. Let's go through them one by one. Agile Release Train is SAFE's name for the team of teams, including everyone required to identify, develop, and deliver valuable stuff to customers. Continuous exploration is the act of continually exploring market and customer needs, as well as refining the vision, roadmap, and features of the solution the Agile Train is working on, based on what is learned. Continuous integration is a technical approach that is all but required when working at scale. It means that work performed by multiple teams is continuously combined into a single set of code and other resources necessary to operate the solution, reducing the effort required to combine each team or team members' work. Continuous deployment. SAFE decouples the act of deploying software, i.e. putting code and other resources on an environment, from the act of releasing software, which is making it available to customers, resulting in the ability to deploy software whenever teams need to, while allowing the business to release on demand. Collectively, all of these things add up to what SAFE refers to as the continuous delivery pipeline. Operating at scale is next to impossible without the use of rigorous modern approaches to documentation, operation, and execution of a given solution. Essential SAFE suggests that, at a minimum, you need to use DevOps, a culture of shared ownership and automation that is widely used by technical teams, as well as operate an evolving mix of documentation of existing product and planned enhancements called a solution context, and then ensure that the operated solution is always at an appropriate level of quality in order that the cost and complexity of operating and enhancing it are reduced. These mechanisms and processes are supported by some additional integration tools, as shown here. The vision is an overarching guiding statement that all of the Agile Release Train's work should be compared against. A roadmap is a forecast of what teams are going to be working on in the next 3 to 12 months or so. And the system team supports the tools and processes necessary to connect teams to each other and to their customers. Often this means standing up new servers or performing arcane, seldom needed functions that are nevertheless required for the solution. Underpinning all of this is a set of values and principles that help leadership and specialist coaches curate and nurture a mindset in all staff that will lead to the identification of improvements wherever they may lie, so that the Agile Release Train gets better and better the longer it lasts. Okay, so there's obviously a lot more to it, but what we've talked about in this video is enough to understand why SAFE exists and roughly how it works. If you want to go really in depth, there are currently 13 comprehensive multi-day courses available that teach in great detail how to operate an Agile Release Train, how to be a Scrum Master in a SAFE environment, what a product owner does, and many related topics. First things first though, if you'd like to know more about any of this, the SAFE website, that's www.scaledagileframework.com, is a great place to start. The SAFE website includes the big picture, and every component of it is clickable, with pages and pages of well-written detailed descriptions to pore over. Finally, if you have any questions about SAFE, feel free to leave them in the comments. There's also lots of information available on the wider internet, and most of it's free. Just follow your nose.